Number one problem in our generation and economy is the lack of financial literacy. These words were once spoken by the former chairman of the Federal Reserve and American economist Alan Greenspan. Money is something that is everywhere. It is used all around the world, and it even is involved in our everyday lives. And some could say it is very influential in the decisions we make for our life. And even though I'm no expert, I'm no economist or businesswoman or entrepreneur of any sorts, I have found myself educated in this area through watching videos, reading very common books such as Rich Dad Poor Dad, or just reading some articles so I can better educate myself in the financial subject. Now, today I will be talking about why financial literacy should be taught at schools. Financial literacy should be taught at schools because the majority of students find themselves clueless to this subject when they come out of school. And this can lead to future finance and health issues. However, if schools acknowledge the importance of financial literacy, then these issues can be avoided and prevented. As I mentioned before, financial literacy should be taught at schools because when students come out of school, they're clueless and feel unprepared because due to the lack of knowledge in their finances. For example, when I came out of high school, not only was I concerned about my education due to the pandemic and what it meant for me and my peers, and also how we were moving to this new stage in our lives, but I kept thinking about all that they had taught us, all that we were taught in school, and all that I had learned. And I realized something. I realized that I was really unknowledgeable in the financial area. And this made me feel unprepared to move on or to move on in my adulthood life and to college. The article What is Financial Literacy and Why It's Important, written by Brianna McGurran, a loans analysis by Forbes, she states that financial literacy is confident understanding that includes saving, investing, and debt that leads to an overall sense of financial well-being and self-trust. Now, the more students come out of school with being financially literate, not only will it encourage them to stay in school, but it'll also encourage them to go to college, and they'll come out with a basic set of skills of how to manage money, and such as saving, investing, how to grow their money, how to avoid debt. And this can help the economy or be beneficial for our community because it can help the economy and students alike. If students are more literate financially, then as adults, they'll know how to manage money, and this eventually can result in a better economy. Now, with that being said, if students are financially illiterate, it can lead to very painful consequences for their adulthood lives. An example of this would be their health. If there are financially illiterate people, it can lead to being frustrated about some certain financial problems, not knowing how to pay their bills, for instance, how to manage their money and organize themselves. And this would come to show in recent studies. The article How Financial Literacy Can Reduce Stress and Improve Workplace Productivity, written by Carly Chalmers, stated that financial stress is a significant problem for many adults in the United States. That in fact, 44% of Americans reported that money is their number one stressor, according to a Northwestern Mutual 2018 Planning and Progress study. This comes to show that the lack of financial literacy can lead to stress, can lead to a health issue. This is why it's important for us to acknowledge that schools should be teaching financially literate classes. Not only can it affect our in a health matter, but people in general. A survey also shows that being financially illiterate can lead to divorce. How? Well, divorce, one of the leading causes of divorce is financial arguments. And how can financial arguments be caused? Well, if someone is financially illiterate, then they will be frustrated and it can cause an anxious environment in their household, leading to financial arguments, which is one of the leading causes in divorce. Meaning, if someone is financially illiterate, it can lead to divorce, and as I mentioned before, to this health issue, stress. But not only can it lead to stress or divorce, it can also lead to bankruptcy. Financial illiteracy can lead to bankruptcy, and bankruptcy can ruin someone's record in a way, because they can lose their property. It can lead to a bad credit score, and even, which was quite surprising for me, even if someone goes bankrupt, their life insurance goes up. So if someone is financially illiterate, they will have that lack of how to manage their money, that lack of knowledge of how to manage their money, which will lead to the wrong financial decisions, resulting in bankruptcy. So if someone is financially illiterate, if it's not taught at school, it'll lead to these adults who are in stress, that may cause divorce and to bankruptcy. However, if financially literacy classes become a requirement for schools, in more schools than they are now, then these issues can be avoided. Now, recently, only 21 states in the United States require students to graduate with a financially literate class. Meaning, or this could be depicted as the rest of the other states don't find being financially literate as important. And the CNBC article, Teaching Financially Literacy Finally Catches On, shows how the younger we teach financial literacy, the more we'll be able to minister our finances as adults. Meaning that if we encourage schools where we are, in our local community, in our state, if they don't require financially literate classes, as in right now, then we should encourage our local schools around us, and districts around us to require a financially literate class to be taught in schools, because they're important. It's a basic knowledge, a basic skill that we should have as individuals and that we should carry with our lives. Now, this is why financially literacy is important to be taught at schools. And as I mentioned before, it'll leave students less clueless. They'll be knowledgeable in how to manage their finances. And they won't have those negative effects that it can bring, the stress or maybe even divorce or bankruptcy. And this can be the cause to us taking action and seeing if the schools around us require those financially literate classes. This is why schools should teach financially literate classes. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.